Welcome to the channel and welcome to 8th edition Warhammer 40k. The Cabal of the Last Hatred are back. It's Space Marines versus Drukhari. Here amongst these canyons, here amongst these crags, the Space Marine chapter known as the 13th will meet the old enemy, their ancient nemesis, the Cabal of the Last Hatred. One more time, we're racing back to Terra, the Space Marines, the Noble Astartes, to join the Indomitus Crusade, where they hear that the Cabal are deployed on this battle grid. And the Space Marines are responding, they're deploying, they want to strike down the ancient foe. So this is a 1,900 point game, that many points because we built our armies and thought that made sense to us. We're playing the Retrieval Mission, that's the first book in the Eternal War section in the 40k rulebook. Retrieval Mission because it's nice and simple. There's 4 objectives, one down here, one in the middle, one over there, and one back there. We're also doing search and destroy deployment, so table quarters. I'm in this table quarter here. The Dark Eldar in that table quarter back there. He who placed the 4th objective, well, they determine the deployment map when you place the 4 objectives. We used to think that you just pick, but one of the kind subscribers pointed out this little bit up here. It says in match play missions you roll off to determine the deployment map. So we hit search and destroy this table quarters here. I rolled off, I got this one, we're doing search and destroy. I also get to pick the deployment zone as well as the deployment map according to this. So I've picked this corner mainly because my troops are just over here. Don't know who's going first yet. He who places their army first down on the battle grid gets to pick whether they go first or second. The Dark Eldar have got a lot of transports. What you can do is you can put your unit inside a transport that counts as 1 drop, and therefore you can potentially deploy all your army before your opponent deploys your army and get the drop on them. I expect that's what Paul wants to do. Paul's back on the channel again. I've missed the old fella, but he's back with his Cabal, so this is going to be very, very interesting game. And in Retrieval, there's First Blood, Slay the Warlord, Line Breaker. To get Line Breaker in this game, you need to get one of your units, one of your models in the enemy's deployment zone, not within 12 inches of that table edge. I need to get in the deployment zone for Line Breaker, and Paul will also need to get in this deployment zone down here for Line Breaker. That's a bit of a change from previous editions. And the way we score these objectives in 8th edition, it's the number of models closest to the center of the marker scores. If I have one great big tank close to that objective, and Paul has a couple of little gribblies, a couple of Cabalites running around, then he'll score the objective. You need to outnumber your opponent to score these objectives. That's how it works. One other interesting thing of note, there is no cover on this table. I know, strangely enough. Lots of line of sight blocking terrain all over the place, but no cover. The way cover works is you need to be entirely within a terrain piece, a crater, a ruin, or some trees, something like that, entirely within a terrain piece. You can't really squeeze in any of these bits here, and we're not gonna try because we end up knocking it all over. They're here for effect. They're here to make the battle grid look pretty. You need to be entirely within a terrain piece for benefit from cover. If you're a vehicle, if you're not infantry, if you're anything other than infantry, then you need to be entirely within a terrain piece and 50% obscured to benefit from cover. And there are no terrain pieces here because of hills in 8th edition count as part of the battlefield itself. If you're on the top here, you don't get anything. If you're 50% obscured by anything, you don't get anything. Anyway, that's the way we read it. So no cover on this grid, just lots of interesting, very interesting firing angles which will come into play. Right, this is 1,900 points worth of Space Marines. It's a single battalion detachment that gives me 6 command points. And this chap here is my Warlord. He's a Librarian, and he's got Smite, Veil of Time, and Might of Heroes. And this one has got Smite, Veil of Time, and Null Zone. I'll explain those as and when we use them. And then I've got 50 troops, 2 units of scouts. This squad's got a heavy bolter, and this squad's got combat blades. Look like chain fists, but combat blades do the same thing in scouts. It gives +1 to their attack. In both cases, the sergeants have got shotguns, because sergeants should carry shotguns. These guys can deploy 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone, and if I go first, that means I could then move 6 inches, being 4 inches away from the enemy deployment zone, and charge in turn 1. Potential first turn charges. Also very good for aerial denial. You can spread them all over the battle grid because they infiltrate, and that helps prevent units, such as Terminators for example, that might deep strike in within 9 inches of enemy units. So I could combat squad these guys up, stick them all over the place, and help my army to use area denial tactics by infiltrating in like that. Then 3 units of 10 tactical marines. Flamer combi, flamer, plasma combi, plasma, flamer, power sword, heavy bolter, and 2 razorbacks there. I'm naturally going to have to combat squad these 2 at the back, but you choose deployment during deployment whether you want to combat squad or not. I'm probably going to combat squad everything I have in my army because the Dark Eldar can hit like a brick. Then I brought 2 units of normal Terminators. There's an assault cannon in one, which is there, and a heavy flamer in the other. Assault cannons are now 6 shots, which is nice, and storm bolters are rapid fire 2, which means within 12-inch range you have 4 shots each, which is nice. And then I've got 2 auto cannons. I'm bringing auto cannons back. These are 8 shots each, hitting on 3s, 4s if I move, and they do 2 damage a piece. So yeah, no las cannons or melters or anything like that in my army, but it is Dark Eldar. I have got heavy bolters scattered in there, heavy bolter in the squad back there, twin heavy bolters on the razorback. So I have got some long range DACA, and Eldar vehicles are still quite paper thin, but not as paper thin as they used to be. And lots of troops, because I want to see a lot of death. I want to see a lot of carnage. Let's have a look at the Dark Eldar. Right, this is 1,900 points of Dark Eldar. It's a battalion detachment as well, so Paul has 6 command points as well. Right, the 2 HQ slots, we have an Archon with a Husk Blade and a Blaster, I believe. He'll be joining some Cabalites, and in every single one of the Cabalite squads, there's little squads at the back, but there's a Blaster in each. They're getting inside a Raider, and Drazar, Master of Blades, is joining the Incubi, and they're getting in a Raider, and I think he gives these guys, is it +1 attack or +1 weapon skill?
+1 attack.
No,
+1 weapon skill.
So they're hitting on 2s basically. Incubi hitting on 2s when they charge, getting inside that Raider. That could be really nasty. And what are these strange creatures I have never ever seen before?
Mandrakes.
Mandrakes, Vespids, things like that are now coming back to 40k. These guys are set up in Deep Strike Reserve, or the equivalent of Deep Strike Reserve, and they pop in on the battle grid 9 inches away from an enemy, and they can actually do some damage this time, and I think it's -1 to hit them. We've also got something we typically not see, which is a unit of Witches. They'll be in a Venom, and then we've got 3 units of Cabalite Warriors across the back in Venoms. I think you've got twin splinter rifles or whatever it is. Splinter cannons on the Venoms, because it's still very good to bring twin splinter cannons on the Venoms. The difference is, instead of 2 hull points at armor value 10, these guys have got 6 wounds with a 4-up save. So they're quite nice. And all the Dark Eldar vehicles, the Raiders and Venoms, have a 5-up invulnerable save as well. Unit of 6 Reavers. There's cluster caltrops in there. Cluster caltrops are changed. When you charge on a 4-up, you can do mortal wounds. So 2 of them in there. And these guys move a crack ton of a long way. They move 16 inches, I believe. And the Venoms move 16 inches. Raiders move 14 inches. You're talking about scary distances here. And then the Ravagers here with triple Dark Lancers on every single one. So these are moving a long way and firing all of their guns at full ballistic skill. Heavy weapons on Ravagers go down to assault weapons. So you could potentially even go flat out with Ravagers and fire those guns as well. Another interesting thing about Drukhari, Dark Eldar, is you get to pick your combat drugs now. So what did you pick?
It was +1 toughness for the bikes.
Toughness 5 bikes.
And +1 attack for the Witches.
So they got just 2 attacks base. Nice, simple, here we go. Also, power from plane has changed. You're going to get your 6-up, feel no pain essentially. Right from word go, you don't have to wait until word 2. It's cumulative. We're going to be dipping in and out of the book quite a lot to get our heads around this, but I'm very interested to see what Drukhari can do. I know they're fast. I know there's some serious close combat capability in here. Yeah, let's get on to deployment. Okay, here's the table after deployment. I managed to get all my army down first, which means I get to choose to go first, and I will, unless Paul steals from me. Don't steal from me.
I'm Dirty Dark Eldar. I'm going to steal.
Dirty Dark Eldar. One of the things I found out with Combat Squad, learning this game right away, is there was one unit in it. I beat Paul by 1 unit, so by choosing whether or not to Combat Squad or not, allowed me to get more of my stuff down. Long story short, I didn't Combat Squad my scouts, which are here, which are 9 inches away from the deployment zone, so moving in a potential first turn charge there. And the scouts over here, a potential first turn charge there, of course, unless Paul steals from me. Stealing's bad, kids. Don't do it. There's a librarian in here with 5 guys and the other 5 guys there. Librarian in which one? This one in the Razorback with 5 guys, the other 5 guys there. This unit is combat squadded, flamer together, the other 5 guys here. And then because at the beginning it was looking a bit dodgy, I did stick this guy back at a line of sight of most other Dark Eldar goodies because I didn't know whether I would get to go first or not. And the Dark Eldar, we've got Reaver jet bikes front and centre. I think Drazar is in that one there.
He's in there.
And then the Archon is in
this one.
Is in that one there. And then Ravagers taking up the flanks and Witches and other things. You can see the Witches are in this one. And then Cabalites are in the other 3 Venoms. The Terminators are in Deep Strike Reserve. Not that that's a thing anymore. As are the Mandrakes also. They have the ability to appear on the battlefield 9 inches away from the enemy unit and pop out. So, Paul.
Yeah.
Are you going to steal from a friend?
Damn straight.
Go on then. Roll a 6.
Ooh.
That's so close, but no cigar. Let's go on to Space Marines. Turn 1. Okay, here we are after the movement phase, and it's all very simple. Pressure, pressure, pressure. The scouts moving forward here and here, hoping to get off those first turn charges. Both of the Razorbacks busting forward, trying to put as much pressure on the Drukhari lines as possible. We do not like the Cabal of the Last Hatred. We want to make them bleed. Let's move on to the shooting phase. Starting off with this Dreadnought here, which didn't move, firing at that Ravager. I've got 8 shots, and these hit on 3s. Everything hits. I like my new dice. This is strength 7 versus toughness 6, I believe all your stuff is. So actually wound on 3s. And we're looking at 5 wounds there. The SN Battle Report logos are 6s, 5 wounds. It's -1 to your armor save, and you have a 4-up save. So that's a 5-up save. 5-up saves. And you make 2 of them. So that's 3 wounds. I think these guys got 10 each. Yes, they have 10 wounds, so as soon as they get to 5 wounds, they start degrading. Any model that has 10 or more wounds has this degrading stat line. So it's down to 7. I really need to chip away some more at it. So I'm going to fire the second Dreadnought. This guy did move, so I'm hitting with my autocannons on 4s. And I only get 3 hits this time. Wounding on 3s. 1 wound with a 5-up save. You also have 5-up and Vuns on these. Ah, damn it. He made it. He made it. So 3 wounds down. I need to chip 7 off of them. Fortunately, I've got 2 heavy bolters on the Razorbacks here, primed and ready to go. These are heavy weapons. They moved, so -1 to ballistic skill. So 6 shots, twin heavy bolters, hitting on 4s, and I only get 2 hits. These are strength 5 versus toughness 6, so I need 5s to wound. And that's 1 wound with -1 rend, so a 5-up save. Nope. That takes off 1 wound only. Oh, I just remembered something. Yeah, so the heavy bolter knocked off 1 damage, but autocannons do 2 damages a pop. So when I said it did 3 damage, it actually did 6 damage, this autocannons. Right. Do you like that?
Yeah, that's brutal, isn't it?
6 plus the heavy bolter there is 7 wounds off of that Ravager, which means I've got 3 to go.
Yeah.
3 to go for first blood. So let's fire the second bad boy. Don't let me down. Hitting on 4s. 3 hits. And I need 5s to wound, you said? Strength 5, toughness 6, 5s to wound. I've got 1 more wound with a 5-up save. What'd you make? Looking around the battle grid, the heavy bolter guy in the tactical squad are here, and he's out of range. In fact, the only thing in range and line of sight, firing through this canyon of death, are these bikers here. So I'm going to take a pop at them. I'm hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits, and it's strength 5 heavy bolter, but you went and gave your bikers +1 toughness because you can just pick your combat drugs now, which is an awesome roll. So this wound's on 4s. 1 wound, and it's -1 to your armor save. What's your armor save?
Don't know.
4+, drop to a 5+, 1 to save, sir. Okay, takes a wound, and they got 2 wounds each now, so it doesn't kill a bike.
And I get to roll 6 because it's feel no pain shit.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you get that straight away. You said shit. Don't say shit or bugger.
Sorry.
Takes a wound.
Yeah.
Down to 1 wound. They don't die. Right, coming around this side of the table, these scouts obviously want to charge that venom. However, that thing's on 3 wounds, so some 8th edition stuff coming on here. The unit is going to shoot at that, hopefully kill it, and then charge that. So let's spool up these bolt guns. 8 bolt guns, a shotgun, and a heavy bolter are there. Shotgun's out of range. Here's the bolt guns, hits in on 3s, and that's 5 hits. Strength 4 versus toughness 5. I need 5s to wound. And I only get 1 wound. It's got 3 saves left. 1 4-up save passed. Right, then the heavy bolter. I moved, so I'm hitting on 4s because it's a heavy weapon. Damn it, just 1 hit. I'm wounding on 4s. Damn it, no wounds. So I haven't managed to chip off that Ravager, but it's severely crippled with 3 wounds left. Forgot about the Storm Bolter on this Razorback here. Hitting on 3s, wounded on 5s. This is on the Ravager, still nothing. So now let's do these scouts into this Ravager. First I'm going to huck a crack grenade, hitting on a 3, miss. Over here then, shotgun on the Sergeant, hits on 3s, 1 hit. And then all the bolt pistols hitting on 3s. So 5 hits in total. This is all strength 4. The strength 4 versus toughness 5 is 6 is nothing. They did nothing. Scouts did nothing. And with that, that's the end of the shooting phase in turn 1 for the Astartes. Some aggression in the middle has not paid off. 1 wound on a Reaver. Lots of wounds on that thing, but it's still going to be hitting on 5s when it shoots. So we've got some charges coming on. This vehicle can fire Overwatch, and we're going to charge over there into the Venom. So let's declare this charge first and knock the tree over. Paul, you get to Overwatch with the vehicle. 3 Dark Lances hitting on 6s.
Nope.
Nothing. And then I will resolve my charge range. And I need to get within an inch, so I am in. The scouts ended up getting there, which wasn't close enough. 9 wasn't far enough to try and tie up some enemy units, extra enemy units. And now this unit scouts are going to try and charge that vehicle. The vehicle can Overwatch, and the passengers inside of open top tier vehicles can fire in their shooting phase. Overwatch is resolved like a normal shooting attack, so the vehicle's going to Overwatch, and the guys inside are going to Overwatch. Ouch. Okay, 2 splinter cannons on the Venoms. 12 shots hitting on 6s. Ouch. That's 4 hits. And these wound on 4s, splinter weaponry. Just 1. And a 4-up save. And 1 scout dies. Then the chaps inside, firing the splinter rifles, hitting on 6s. Nothing. And then you've got a blaster, I believe.
Yep.
No, okay, but you did kill 1 with a vehicle on Overwatch, which you've never done before.
That's a first.
That's a first, and we're charging 9 again. Right, this is how I want it to end up, because when I pile in, I can pile into that, and stop the other Venom from shooting. But Venoms have the fly keyword, so at the end of my charge phase, I'm going to end like that and just pile into this one. If you have the fly keyword, then you can fall back and continue shooting. If you don't have the fly keyword, I could pile into both of these units, only attack the one that you charged, but stop them both from shooting unless they fell back. So I might as well just hit everything at the Venom. And while we're around here, let's resolve this combat. I have 11 attacks on the charge, can't use grenades in combat anymore. Scouts hit on 3s, and that's not too shabby. That's only 3 misses. There's strength 4 versus toughness 5.
Yeah.
So I need 5s to wound, and I get 3 wounds there. You have 3 saves to make, sir. 3 4-ups, and you make all 3 of them. The Venom is fine. And round this side of the table, it's a slightly different story because all of these guys have got combat blades. Sergeant's got 2 attacks, 20 attacks on the charge into the side of that Ravager. And I'm hitting on 3s. Nice, that's definitely cocked. Let's flip that one again. 5 misses. Strength 4 versus toughness 6. Raiders and Venoms are toughness 5. Ravagers toughness 6. A little bit tougher. But strength 4 versus toughness 6. Wounds on 5s as well. That was my 7th edition brain ticking over there. 5 wounds in total, and all the Dark Eldar vehicles seem to have a 4-up save. Has this one got a 4-up save?
Yep.
It's got a 4-up save. So 5 saves to make on this one. Would you stop doing that? So at the end of turn 1, both of the Dark Eldar vehicles shrug off the close combat attacks by the scouts. They infiltrated in, they tried to clamp their grenades on and smack these vehicles down before they rush forward like the charge of the Light Brigade down towards the Space Marine lines. But they failed in their mission. These guys failed in their missions, and I'm sure they will pay for their treachery here. They'll pay for their folly, because in that raider is Drazar and a bunch of Incubi. That's unless you want to ignore those scouts, Paul, and just bugger off down the tail you're elsewhere. So yeah, but the Astartes plan still holds true. He's got 20 scouts in his deployment zone that he's got to deal with. The Razorbacks are firm right up the centre of the table. I'm applying pressure to the Dark Eldar rather than the other way around. So how the Drukhari respond to this threat will be very interesting. Let's move on to Drukhari, turn 1. And we forgot to strike back with Ravager, so let's quickly do that now. 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. Nice, and their strength 6. So winning on 3s. And that's 1 wound with a 4-up save. And so I didn't hurt the Ravager, but it certainly hurt me back. And this Venom has 2 attacks. He's hitting on 4s, and that's 2 hits.
It's a -1 AP on this as well because they've got blade veins.
Nice, -1 AP. So 2 hits, and it's strength 5. So winning on 3s. 1 wound, -1 AP with blade veins, so he gets a 5-up save, which I make. So, okay. So blade veins are interesting. We really must remember that these vehicles can smack back. Here we are after turn 1 movement phase for the Dark Eldar, and the aggressive threat of the Space Marines has been met by an equally aggressive response. Here we can see all 3 Venoms with the Cabalites loaded up, charging down the middle. The one with the witches in is over here, leaving the scouts stranded in the backfield. And so that's the centre of the battle grid. Over here, bikes move around, 16-inch move, ready to charge into this combat squad. This raider was down there. The Incubi got out before the raider moved, as per the rules, and are ready to charge. And the raiders hopped up here, ready to lend some shots down the battle grid. There's the wounded Ravager. There's another Ravager. There's another Ravager. So the Razorbacks in the centre of the table are going to take a lot of pressure. The Mandrakes are staying off the table for now because I left my Terminators off the table. He wants to make sure that some of these vehicles have been ripped open and there's some more juicy targets on the battle grid before the Mandrakes appear. I want to make sure the Terminators are here first before the Mandrakes appear. So we're both holding cards in our hand for later game turns. Anyway, let's move on to the Drukhari shooting phase and see what damage they can deal to the 13th. First salvo, the wounded Ravager, firing at this Razorback here. Because he's wounded, he's hitting on 4s. Are you firing all 3? Yeah, all 3 going to the same thing. Only 1 hit. This is strength 8.
Yep.
Toughness 7, wounding on a 3. No. That's not a wound. Next Ravager, shooting the same Razorback, hitting on 3s. And strength 7, strength 8, toughness 7, wounding on 3s. 1 wound, there's no cover here. What's the AP of that? Right, that's -4 AP on a Dark Lance, so no save, no cover, just strips through the armor, does D6 damage. And that's 2 damage off the first Razorback, 8 wounds to go. Third Ravager over there, firing, hitting on 3s. All 3 hit, wounding on 3s. 2 wounds coming in through and no cover again, so 2d6. And that's a 5 and what's the other dice? A 5 and a 3.
That's 8.
8, and I've only got 8 wounds left, so you rip it open. That's a wrecked transport. On a 6, the transport goes boom. Transport does not go boom. The destroyed Razorback counts as first blood. You disembark the unit and then you roll a dice. There's 6 guys there, so roll all 6. And then on 1s, and there are no 1s. But on 1s, you just remove a model. They're slain. It doesn't matter if you've got 3 wound centurion, whatever. You just remove a model. I would get to pick, because when you allocate wounds, you can do that. But fortunately, none of my guys are wiped out. That is first blood, and that is my Warlord's unit stranded in the centre of the battle grid. So this raider and this raider firing dark lances at this thing. We're doing them both together, hitting on 3s, dark lances, and that's 1 hit, wounding on 3s. And that's a wound again, no cover, d6 damage on this Razorback. And that's a 3, so it drops down to 7 wounds remaining. Now the passengers in this venom, the blaster's firing at the transport, the splinter rifle's firing at the dude. So the blaster hits on a 3. And that's a hit, and it'll wound on a 3, strength 8, toughness 7. And that is a wound, and again, no cover, -4 AP, no armor, just d6 damage. Don't do it, Paul, don't do it. 5 damage, stripping this thing all the way down to 2 wounds. Take it back, it's D3 for blasters, not D6. So that goes back to 5 wounds. Phew. But now we've got 8 splinter shots coming in at this tactical squad here. Hitting on 3s, and that was bad. That was only 4 hits, and then wounding on 3s. Sorry, wounding on 4s. And that's 3 wounds. 3 wounds coming into this squad. 3 3-up saves. And I lose 2 guys. Okay, rinse and repeat. Blaster from that one, splinters into this one. Blaster's hitting on 3s, that's a hit, and then wounding on 3s. That's a wound, and then D3 damage from this blaster into the Razorback.
Just
only 1 more, goes down to 4. I breathe a sigh of relief, but now we've got the 8 splinter shots coming into this squad again. This is a nice split fire ability your guys can do now. I like it, and lots of things hit. That's 7 out of 8 hits. Because beforehand you were doing a bit of shots here, a bit of shots elsewhere, and you're thinking, well, sometimes you just put all splinter guns on the dudes rather than... So this is nice. 4s.
Only 2?
2 wounds. I'll take that. 2 3-up saves, which I make. And I assume you're doing same again with the 3rd venom.
Yep.
I think you've discovered a tactic. 3s to hit with a blaster. You missed this time, the Razorback. I breathed a sigh of relief. But 8 splinter shots on my Warlord's tactical squad. 3s to hit.
That's proper cock.
That's a proper cock. 4s to wound. We have 2 wounds, 2 saves. And 1 more guy dies. Have to be him, I'm afraid, because that leaves the plasma combi plasma. Next, the witches with the pistols firing into this squad, hitting on 3s. 3 hits and wounding on 4s. Don't do it, Paul. 2 wounds, 2 3-ups. 1 more guy dies. Ouch. And the pain continues. The venoms have yet to fire. Now, Paul wants to take on this unit, but it's not a unit. It's my Warlord is a unit of 1 and my Sergeant is a unit. Interestingly, he can't fire at my Warlord because it's not the closest enemy unit to him. The Razorback is the closest enemy unit to him. So he can fire his splinters into that, which wounds on 6s, or his splinters into this. And across the rest of the battle grid, he can see 1 guy here. So potentially you could fire at this unit here. I know you can only see 1, but I can pull away models that aren't in line of sight. You can kill more. Yeah. I would fire at this unit because that guy can't see them. This guy also can't draw line of sight through the trees on this squad down here either. So the only thing he's firing at, the one in the middle, is potentially these 2 units there, or wounding on 6s there. I'd fire the venom at that one, mate.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah?
Yeah.
3s to hit.
9 hit.
9 hits, wounding on 4s. Ouch. So that looks like 7 wounds. So this unit, firing down at this unit, which is in range, has caused 7 wounds, and you can hit stuff that's out of line of sight now. Strange, I know, but this takes up their footprint. So I've got 7 wounds to save, and I fail 3 of them. You're going to be charging with your bikes. Do I take from this side and make that charge longer? Or do I? Yeah, I think I do. I think I have to. they'll die. They're still going to get pistoled by the bikes. I'm still going to have to take mortal wounds. When I say mortal wounds, I mean a morale check at the end of the turn, which could sting. Right, so now he's fired, whittling these down. This guy can't fire at my character, so he's going to put all 12 shots into the sergeant. This one here. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 4s. And I think my sergeant's dead because that's overkill. So that's 7 wounds right there, 6 wounds. 6 wounds, 3 up save. Yep, my sergeant's dead. That's second blood, sir. Leaving my character a little bit exposed. We've resolved this one. Now this unit is going to fire my scouts. So 3 shots. 12 shots, sorry, hitting on 3s. And that's a lot of stickiness. And then you're going to be wounded on 4s with these poison rounds. And that's 4 wounds on the scouts. 4 wounds on the scouts with a 4 up save. And 2 scouts die. Next, the Raider. There's a blaster in there firing at the Razorback and the splinters going at the scouts. Blaster hitting on a 3.
What?
And that misses. And the Razorback breathes another sigh of relief. And then you've got 8 guys left. So 16 poison rounds going into the scouts. 3s to hit. That looks like a good chunk to me. 4s to wound. And that doesn't look as good to me.
No.
How did you get? There's 1 there,
5.
1 there, 3 more. So 5 saves on the scouts on a 4 up. And I lose 2 more though. And the Archon in the Raider hits on a 2. And that's a hit. Wounds on a 4. It's a splinter pistol. And that's a cock. And that's a wound and another 4 up save. And I fail and that's another scout dead. Last Venom left to shoot is this Venom. And the closest unit is my character. Is my Warlord. So there'll be 12 poison rounds firing into the Librarian here. Hitting on 3s. I did charge up the battlefield to try and engage you, to try and put some pressure on your lines. I could be forced to pay for this mistake. Let's see how many wounds you get. I see 3. I see dead people. Is he going to die?
4.
4 wounds, 1 hidden away there. 3 up save. I take a wound. I think they've got 4 wounds each. I think that leaves him on 3. Let me check the book. Now the bike shooting this tactical squad here, there's only 3 that can draw line of sight. Rapid fire splinter rifles hitting on 3s. And that's 4 hits. And wounding on 4s because these are poisoned. They love their poison, the Dark Eldar. 2 wounds, 2 3 up saves. And I save that one. And after that storm of poisoned fire, everything that can shoot has now shot. Razorback gone, whole squad of tacticals wiped out here, and my Librarian Warlord on 1 wound left. 3 guys from this tactical squad gone here. 6 guys taken as casualties from that scout squad in the back. I'm dreading the morale test when I have to make it there. And it's still, the pain is not over. We have some charges coming on bikes here. And Razar, the Master of Blades, with his Incubi coven here. Which one do you want to declare first, sir?
Let's do the bikes.
Ah, damn it. Not Razar. Let's do the bike. Okay, rapid fire, Overwatch. Let's do this. Bolt guns hitting on 6s. Nothing. Okay, how far do you charge?
Was it 2D?
2d6. Yeah, just like the old days. And that's 8 inches. You need to get an inch away. Oh, you're in. This is where the bikes end up after that charge. And now I'm going to Overwatch Drazara. 4 bolt pistols and a shotgun, hitting on 6s. And I get 2 hits. Toughness of Incubi. I think they're still toughness 3, right? So 3s to wound. So that's actually 1 wound with a 3 up Incubi save. Right, 3 up save. Yes. Then Drazar charges. And he goes, he definitely charges. He's hungry for blood. Going 12. And this is where we end up after the charge phase. And this is where the bikes end up after the pile in. He's within an inch. And the back 3 that were strung out are now within an inch of a guy that is within an inch. So they all get to fight in this combat. These 2 guys have Grav Talons. I don't know if I mentioned that when we were doing the deployment thing. But Grav Talons only work if you end up within an inch of an enemy model during the charge phase. They didn't, so we don't do the Grav Talon things. That's a potential to cause mortal wounds. So straight onto their attacks. 13 dice, hitting on 3s, 2 attacks each, 1 for the arena champion. Nice. That was 7 hits. Strength 4 with blade veins, -1 AP. So wounded on 4s. Bikes come with blade veins. And that is 4 wounds. And these are the blades sticking out the sides of the bikes, -1 AP. So 4 up save on these Space Marines. And one of them gets hit. At the end of the combat, Paul's choosing not to pile in 3 inches or consolidate 3 inches because he doesn't want to be closer to my lines back here. Now we go on to the Incubi. The Incubi have a weapon skill of 3, but it's improved to 2 because Drazara's there. They've got 3 attacks each. The Clavex has got 4 attacks. He can do additional damage to Clavex. The Incubi just do 1 damage. But it doesn't matter if he does additional damage on a scout unit because they all have 1 damage each. Long story short, 9 Incubi are dropping 28 attacks and they hit on 2s. This is 14 attacks. We're doing this twice. That was 12 hits plus this many hits, and there's a few 1s. That was 23 hits at strength 4. This is going to wound on 4s. They're typically strength 3, but they get +1 strength with the Clavex. That doesn't look that doesn't look huge, but it's probably enough because each of these is -3 AP, which negates my armor save. And how many wounds you got there?
11.
11. There's 10 guys. You wiped out every single one, and Drazar didn't even have to strike. He just watched his boys and said, well done, lads. Well done. Then after that combat, the Incubi consolidate 3 inches and drink in the pain. Now, I finally get to fight. My 1 lone Space Marine is hopefully going to kill one of these bikes, hitting on 3s. And I hit. He's strength 4. These are toughness 5 with the combat drugs, so I need a 5 to wound. That's a wound. You have a save to make, sir. 4+ save, which is a fail. And one of these was already on a wound. You can't pile wounds over. Oh yeah, you get your 6 up. I saw you shaking. Yeah, okay, so your 6 up, feel no pain didn't work.
Gone.
One's gone. You can't spread wounds across models anymore. Once the target is wounded, he takes it. Okay, now we're on to the morale phase. Their leadership is 8, so they'll be fine. And my leadership is 7. I lost 4 guys in this unit. So 2d6 plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8, which is 1 more than my 7, which means he is removed. However, Space Marines have and they shall know no fear. I can re-roll this. He is removed. Then around here I lost 6 Space Marine scouts. The sergeant's still there with his shotguns. My leadership is 8. So 6 plus that is 13. I'm losing 5 more guys. And they shall know no fear. Let's re-roll. I'm losing this entire unit of scouts as well. Ouch, they just flee. They've had enough. So end of turn 1, and first blood has been scored by the Drukhari, and both units of scouts have been savagely wiped out. This unit over here by the Incubi, the other unit over there just took splinter fire after splinter fire after splinter fire. My Warlord is wounded in the middle of the table after his Razorback got ripped open and the entire squad around him got taken out. The tactical squad over here, that combat squad, it has also been taken out. My footprint was high up in the Dark Eldar lines, but now, all of a sudden, I've been pushed back into this corner. It was a strong riposte by the Cabal of the Last Hatred. What, if anything, can the 13th do now? Let's move on. Yeah, pull out the Terminators. Let's move on to turn 2. In the movement phase, the teleporters have flashed and the 2 units of Terminators are in. This one just 9 inches away from that, just outside 9 inches. And the other squad over there, just outside 9 inches from that one. You can charge in the turn that you arrive from Deep Strike Reserve. And with Veil of Time, yeah, I could potentially re-roll that charge range if I get that psychic power off. Both of the Librarians are here. The Warlord's moved back and away because he doesn't want to be the closest enemy unit. The other one's jumped out that side. These guys jumped out that side. Razorback standing still. I'm hitting on 4s now because he's wounded. He's down to 4 wounds. And if I moved, I'd be hitting on 5s. So he's just standing there. The only other thing that's moved was the Rhino round the backfield, coming around the edge. Rifle Dreads standing still to maximize their firepower as well. So pushing forward into the teeth of the enemy. Let's move on to the psychic phase. I'd like to manifest Veil of Time from my Warlord onto the Terminators. It's Warp Charge 6, and I get to re-roll my charge range if I get it off. So I need a 6. And I fail. So I'm going to use a command point to re-roll 1 dice. Puts me down to 5 command points. And I pass. Woohoo! And then he's going to cast Smite. Warp Charge 5. And that's a pass. This will hit the nearest enemy unit and do D3 mortal wounds. That's 3 mortal wounds on that venom there. No saves whatsoever. Right, and now my Librarian casting Might of Heroes for an additional attack, strength, toughness. I'm going to put it on the guy with the the assault cannon back there. This is Warp Charge 6, which I fail, so that doesn't get off. And now I'm going to do Smite again. And I rolled a 12, which is a Perils. He will take D3 mortal wounds. So he loses 3 mortal wounds. He's dropped down to 1 wound left, that Librarian. But because it's a double 6, it's not double 1s, that still works, that Warp Charge. It still works that power. Smite is D3 mortal wounds, but if you get 10 or more, it's D6 mortal wounds. So this will do D6 mortal wounds on that venom. Only 1. 1 more wound on the venom. So 1 wound on the venom, 3 wounds on my Librarian. I don't think that's a fair exchange. With blood dripping from his ears, this Librarian grits his teeth and yells, "Pull the trigger." Let's move on to the shooting phase. Okay, the Razorback is going to open up all its guns into that venom. I've got 6 heavy bolters and I hit on 4s. That's 3 hits, and it's strength 5 versus toughness 5, which is 2 wounds, and that's -1 AP, so a 5 up save or a 5 up and run. Twice. You take 2 wounds on that venom. Rapid fire range from the Storm Bolter, so that's 4 shots. Hitting on 4s, only 1 hit, and wounding on 5s. That is another wound, this time with a 4 up save on the venom, once. 5. Did you get a 5? Okay, he's okay. Then this unit are going to fire at the same venom with everything they've got. Starting off with a flamer, D6 auto hits. 1, which wounds on a 5, which doesn't wound. And then the bolt guns. 8 shots hitting on 3s. Yeah, okay. That's 5 hits. And I'm wounding on 5s. And I get 2 wounds. 2 4-up saves, and you make 1, dropping it down to 3 wounds. Bolt pistol from the Librarian into that. Hits on a 3, wounds on a 5, nothing. From the other one into the same target, 3s and 5s, nothing. Right, this Terminator squad are going to fire their Storm Bolters into that because they're rapid fire 2, so that's 4 shots at 12 inches. So the Storm Bolters into that and the Assault Cannon into that one. So these are the Storm Bolt shots, 16 shots. Only 2 wounds left on that venom, 2 wounds. I should be able to take it out. I say should. 3s to hit. Only miss with 1 shot. Now can I convert those hits to wounds? 5s to wound. No, I can't. 1 wound, 1 5-up save, which you fail, putting that venom down to 1 wound. But out of 15 hits, 1 wound, seriously? And then the Assault Cannon firing across into this venom here. Assault Cannons are 6 shots now, hitting on 3s. And that's 5 hits. Strength 6, toughness 5, wounding on 3s. This should be better, come on. No, it's not. There's 2 wounds, it's -1 AP, so you've got 2 5-up saves, sir. Which you fail both. So both of these venoms are down onto 1 wound each, and that's not enough to kill them. Okay, coming around here. These 2 Terminators are going to shoot at that venom on 1 wound left. I am in rapid fire range. And these 2 are going to fire at the Raider. The Flamer guy obviously is out of range. So the 2 guys on the venom, 1 wound to go, hitting on 3s. Come on, guys. For Manus, for the 13th. 5s to wound. 2 wounds. Can you make 2 4-up saves? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay, on the Raider. 3s to hit. That's 6 hits and 3 wounds on the Raider. 3 wounds on the Raider with 4-up saves. And
2 wounds.
2 wounds on that raider, dropping it down to 8 wounds left. They have 10 wounds a pop, raider. So really want that venom dead. So over here, this guy's got 2 guns. He's going to fire one of the guns at the bikes and the other gun at the venom, because you can do that now. So, and he stood still, so 3s to hit the venom. That's that many hits, that's good. It's strength 7, toughness 5, 3s to wound. 2 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up saves on that venom or he's dead. He's dead, finally. And it blows up on a 6. Doesn't blow up. The guys just get out, they disembark within 3 inches, and then you pull the model. So there's 5 guys in that venom. So on rolls of 1s, and there's 1-1, Paul gets to choose a model, and that guy is just simply removed. That's the result of that shooting attack. The central venom taken out, one of the Cavalettes wiped out, and now the other 4 shots coming into the bikers, hitting on 3s. Only 2 hits. I'm going to be wounding. They're toughness 5, but I'm strength 7, so I'm going to be wounding on 3s. 1 wound, and it's minus 1 to your AP, so you have a 5-up save on one of these bikes. Sir. 5-up save. You rolled a 1, 6-up, and you ignore the one of the damages. No. This is 2 damage. You've got 2 wounds. It just kills one of the bikes. Then I'm going to fire the other 8 shots. All in. Actually, that Ravager's on 3 wounds left. 1 minute, let me think. Right, I know that Ravager is still a threat, but these bikes zipping around all over the place, they're just going to annoy me, so they must die. So the second Dreadnought, everything it's got into these bikes, hitting on 3s. That's good. Only 1 miss there. Strength 7, toughness 5, wounding on 3s. And that's even better. 6 wounds. Each of these do 2 damage. These have got 2 wounds a pop. So Paul needs to make 6 5-up saves. And you make none of them.
5-up saves.
Oh, 5-up saves. You make 2. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Sorry. I was thinking about the 6-up feel no pains that you now make. So now you've got 4 6-up feel no pains to make. And you make none of them. 4 wounds on that target. Every single one did 2 damage each. I did manage to wipe out the units of bikes. And I think that's the end of my shooting phase. Oh no, I got a heavy bolter in there as well. The only thing it can draw line of sight to is it can't see that thing through the trees, but it can see the witch's venom here. So I'm going to fire at the witch's venom down there, and I hit on 3s. I get 1 hit, strength 5 versus toughness 5. That's 1 wound with a 5-up save, which you make. So at the end of the shooting phase for the 13th, I killed a venom, killed the bikers, and that's it. That was pretty poor and really hurt my guy in the psychic phase. So I've got some charges coming on. So I'm going to declare a charge with this unit into that venom. You may overwatch, sir. Right, 12 shots with the venom. And nothing. And then the guys inside, there's 8 chaps inside. I'm not sure if you're supposed to actually do overwatch with the units inside. Because I'm not technically charging that unit.
No, you're not.
I know in the old days you would fire Overwatch in 7th edition, but I'm not declaring a charge against the unit inside. I'm declaring a charge against the vehicle. What do you think?
I don't know, because it's open topped. Whether or not.
But in 7th it specifically said if you charge open top vehicles they could Overwatch, but in 8th edition I'm not charging that unit.
No.
Alright, we just had a large debate, a mass debate on that rule, and as far as we don't think the unit inside can fire Overwatch. I'm charging, the target of my attack, my charge, is that venom, not the unit inside. The target unit can fire Overwatch. The guys inside are not the target of my attack. They can't fire Overwatch. That's what we think is the case here. In 7th edition, it specifically said when you charge units that are open top, they get to do this. There was a rule that told you what to do. In this case, there isn't a rule that tells you what to do. It says they act as they do in the shooting phase and they can do stuff in the shooting phase. This isn't the shooting phase. I know we did Overwatch from the units inside earlier, but we're changing it now. Instead, they're not overwatching. The venom overwatched, the venom missed. I'd be very interested to hear what you think on the matter. So yeah, rules is written. The venom isn't the target of my charge. So let's charge. And I charge 6. Finishing my charge like that. And now the Terminators are going to charge. They're just over 9 inches away. So I need to get within 1 inch. So this is a 9-inch charge. and I have Veil of Time, so I may re-roll my charge because that failed. And that's a 7. And now, do I burn another command point to make sure I get in there because this is a different phase? I need a 4. Yes, on it. Let's burn another command point. Need a 4. And I failed the charge. Terminators failed the charge. So that's the result. That's it. That's it for charges. Let's move on to the fight phase. In the fight phase, I'm going to pile
These guys
hit.
not charging?
Oh yeah, the Terminators round the back. They're going to charge the Raider. Thanks for that. The Raider can fire Overwatch with its 1 lance. And I'm going to charge this far. And they're going to fail their charge anyway. Don't hit. You don't hit. Good. Okay, so that's that charge resolved. Right, so in the fight phase, you may pile in if you want to. This guy's going to pile in, but you must pile into the closest enemy unit, which is there. He won't be able to fight him. The other guys will pile in this way. And then I will strike. So these 3 guys are engaged with this, and he can strike an enemy unit within an inch or within a guy within an inch. So he is within an inch of him, so he's actually going to strike this as well. You're allowed to do that. So there's 4 guys hitting the venom, and I hit on 3s. That's 3 hits, and I'm strength 4 versus toughness 5. I wound on 5s. That's a wound on the venom with a 4-up save, and it's got 1 wound left, and it fails. On a 6, it blows up. It blows up. It blows up. So let's figure out what that does. So first you disembark the unit, and then I need to roll some 1s to kill the guys in the unit, and I don't roll any 1s. Right, then venoms, when they blow up, only do 1 mortal wound on every unit within 6 inches. So if you could pull a model from that, please. And if you could pull a model from that one.
This one?
Yep. And then I'll pull one of my guys from here. Then you do a mortal wound on my Razorback, dropping it down to 3 wounds. My Librarian, who's on 1 wound left, is slain in the explosion. He just dies. And my Warlord at the back, is he within 6? No, he's just out of range. So the Warlord lives. So you actually kill my second in command there. So 2 venoms down, the explosion wiping out the second in command, and that's the end of my turn. That's the end of turn 2 for the Astartes. I believe we have a morale test on these. What is their leadership? If it's 8, you're going to be okay, because even on a 6, they won't be able to fail. Yep, Cabalites are leadership 8 with the sergeant equivalent in there, and that is the end of turn 2 for the Space Marines. I've done some bad damage, taken out a couple of the vehicles. The Terminators are now on the table, but not enough bang. There's still 2 Venoms left, 2 Raiders left, and all 3 of the Ravagers. Drazar, Master of Blades, is going to have to embark and move on, but he's quick as all hell anyway. Perhaps he could run forward. Don't know, not sure. Certainly Paul's got some decisions to make. We're drawing a line in the middle of this battle grid. Purple versus blue so far. Still don't know who's going to win. Let's move on to turn 2 for the Drukhari. Turn 2 movement, and the Cabal has pulled back towards their deployment zone, and the Mandrakes are staying in the shadows for now. Paul is keeping them in his pocket, ready to pop out in turn 3. Units in reserve have to deploy in turn 3 or they're removed. The only exception to this withdrawal are the Witches. They got out 3 and they've got an 8-inch move, so that's an 11-inch move before the vehicle moved, and they're that far away from my Warlord. You can't shoot the close if he's not the closest unit, but you can certainly charge him. And in turn 2, Witches re-roll their charge range. All Dark Eldar stuff re-roll their advance range. Once they got out, the Venom, which can also move 16 inches, hopped up and over. Now my Warlord is definitely the closest model to the guns on the Venom. So sacrificing the Venom there, and potentially the Witches, to slay the head of the 13th to take out the Warlord. Warriors in the middle staying still, doing mopping up action on that unit of troops that got out of the Razorback last turn. But if all goes to plan, all of this stuff in the middle of the table should be dead, and I'll be pushed back to the last third of the table. And then of course Venoms and Raiders round here focusing on that Terminator unit up there. This could be a nasty turn for the 13th. Let's move on to the Psychic phase for the Dark Eldar. Done?
Done.
Let's move.
I was going to say that myself. But...
Yeah. Very quick psychic phase. Now onto the shooting phase. Venom, shooting at my warlord. A lot of hits. Wounded on 4s. Don't kill him. 4 wounds. 4 wounds on the warlord. He has a 3-up save. He's only got 3 wounds left. And now he's got 1 wound left. The Wounded Ravager. Firing at the Wounded Razorback. Hitting on 4s. With its 3 dark lances. All 4 hit. And these wound on 3s. And that's 2 wounds, and they do D6 damage a pop. And I've got 3 wounds left on that Razorback. It's not going to last. It hasn't lasted. That's a dead Razorback. It's gone. It'll blow up on a 6. Oh, it might hurt. This might sting. No blowing up. The Razorback is just gone. Mission accomplished for that Ravager. Next Ravager, firing through down at this Dreadnought here, hitting on 3s. And 2 hits. Toughness 7, so 3s to wound again. 2 wounds, D6 a pop. It's got 8 wounds, that Dreadnought. No cover, no armor save, no nothing. And it takes 7 wounds, drops all the way down from 8 to 1. Ouch. Smoking and steaming. This Dreadnought's going to get hit by this Dark Lance on the radar on a 3. And it does hit, and it will wound on a 3. And it does wound. It's got 1 wound left. It does D6 damage, so it's dead no matter what. He'll blow up on a 6. He doesn't blow up. One of the Dreadnoughts, Honoured Ancient Brothers, has been taken out. This -4 AP on these Dark Lancers with no cover on the table and 3-up saves on my vehicles. It's ouch. It's painful. And because the other Ravagers and the Raiders were so efficient, the only thing that this Ravager could see firing through is my Terminators. So 3s to hit and 2s to wound the Terminators. And that's 2 hits, 2s to wound. 1 wound. -4 will strip my armor down to a 6, but I have a 5-up invulnerable save, which I fail, and these do D6 wounds. Terminators have got 2 wounds each. So you did 6 wounds on this unit, but it doesn't roll over, only mortal wounds do. I can apply it where I want to. Do I want to put on a power fist or a sword? I think I actually want to keep the sword. He has an extra attack. It's -3 AP. It's not unwieldy. I think I'm just going to put it on a power fist, which is something I would have never heard myself say in 7th edition. But in 8th edition, I want to keep that power sword alive. So all the vehicles have now spoken, except for this Raider here. This Raider jumped down from off there, and Drazar and the Incubi have piled into it. Perhaps I should have narrated that earlier, but that's where Drazar, who is the Warlord, is now. And now we've got this Raider here.
Eight guys from there are going to shoot this.
8 guys into
and
there.
One with a blaster's going to have a pop at these guys.
Okay, I like it. So 8 splinter shots into the guys, hitting on 3s. That's pretty good shot. 6 hits or 5 hits, wounded on 4s. And you've got 3 wounds on these tactical marines in the centre of the table. And one of them will fall. I'm not going to take the flamer or the power sword. And then 1 hit on the Terminators in the backfield, huh? Hitting on a 3, which misses. Single shot weapons. Mind you, we've been doing well so far with those single shot weapons. We found another vehicle. There's another Venom with Cabalites in round here. Are they in rapid fire?
No.
No. Firing at what? Terminators? Yeah, okay. That's 2 hits with a splinter weaponry, 4s to wound, and 1 wound with a 2-up save, which I make. Blaster going at them because it's the only thing in range, I guess. Which hits and wounds on a 2. Which wounds, again, -4 AP, gets my 2-up save down to a 6, so I need a 5-up Terminator save. Crux Terminatus fails, D3 damage. 2 wounds. It will wipe 1 out. I need the flamer alive. I want the sword alive. I'm going to take away the power fist. That's the chain fist. Where's the power fist? Yeah, you're dead. Leaving 4 models left. And then the Venom can shoot. 12 shots from the Venom. It's a rapid fire 3 gun, but it's 36-inch range. So within 18 inches, it does 12 shots, and he's got 2 of them. Wounding on 4s. And that's 3 wounds with 3 2-up saves. And the Terminators are fine. They weather the poison fire, but a blaster does melt one of them to ash. Now all the vehicles are fired, we descend into the middle. The blaster in this squad firing at the Terminators over there, the rest of the splinter weaponry at the Tactical Marines. So, blaster hitting on a 3 against the Terminators. That's a hit. Wounding on a 2. That's a wound. I need a 5 up and bun, which I fail. That was this squad firing over here. One of them is dead, and then 6 splinter shots into that.
D3 and it might be 1 wound.
It might be 1 wound, you're right. Please roll a 1 or 2. No, that's definitely a Terminator dead. Appreciate it, thank you. And then 6 splinter shots into the tactical squad in the middle. 3s to hit. He got 3 hits. 4s to wound. That's 3 wounds. 3 up save on the tax. 1 of the tax dies. I'm taking this one away because the pistols, the witches really want to shoot this guy, but they can't because those tacticals are closer than my character. It looks broken, but that's the way the rules go. So definitely taking him away, forcing some choices from the witches there. Anyway, this squad here, you said blaster on the Terminators up there, and then poisoned here. So blaster hitting on a 3, hits, wounds on a 2. Would you stop doing that? 5 up and vulnerable save on the Terminators, and I haven't made any one of them. So D3 wounds. On a 1-2, a Terminator lives. No, another Terminator gets wiped out. Another fist blights the dust, then splinter guys into the middle. 3s to hit. 1 hit, 2 hits, 4s to wound. No wounds. So the witches have to shoot that squad, not the character that's right in front of them. And they hit on 3s, and they hit 3 times, and they wound on 4s, and they wound twice. They're pretty good shots. 3 up save. No! Snake Eyes. Hi, Jay. I'm going to re-roll one of those. I'm going to re-roll one of them. I need a 3 up. No! So I'm down to 3 command points. The tactical marines in the middle are entirely dead. Wanted to keep the flamer alive there. That's the end of the shooting phase. I've lost 2 Terminators over there. 2 Terminators over there. The transport in the middle, and my librarian, my warlord, is about to get charged. Overwatch. Pistol. Fails. You need a 3 and you reroll charge range because you've got the drug things. Yeah, 6. They're in. They reroll charges from turn 2. Drakari. Here we are after the charge and pile-in phase. Now, these witches got 2 attacks each because of the combat drug, so that's 10 attacks, plus 1 for the leader, so that's 11 attacks. No specialist weapons in there at all. Just 11 attacks hitting on 3s. And that's respectable, but they are strength 3 versus toughness 4, so they're wounding on 5s. And you've got 2 wounds. The warlord of the 13th has got 1 wound left. Can he make 2 3-up saves? No, he can't, unless I spend another command point. This is now the fight phase, so I'm going to have to do that. I want to keep my warlord alive. So I need to transfer this 2 into a 3. Last command point, 2 left after this. Here we go, 3 up for the Emperor. No, he's dead. And with the death of my warlord, that's the end of turn 2 for the Dark Eldar. We have morales to do, and I realise I did it wrong last turn because it's only a d6. A d6 plus 2 modular slain from the Terminators. If I rolled a 6 plus 2, that's 8. My sergeant's got leadership 8. That would be an auto pass for them, and an auto pass for the Terminators around the back. So I shouldn't have rolled 2d6. That's a 7th edition tick. 7th edition habit coming through there. Maybe my tactical marines would have survived in turn 1. Probably not. But it's got a sting. You've got to let these things sink in. You've got to learn. So we're about to move on to turn 3 for the 13th, and the Dark Eldar have got significant ball control. They've still got the mandrakes in their back pocket. What, if anything, can the 13th do? The door slammed down on the Rhino. The combat squad disembarks. Flamer, combi flamer in there, coming this way. The other squad, all with bolters, coming this way, trying to clear away the venom and the witches from my lines. I need to do something about these Ravagers as well. They're beginning to sting. Fortunately, my Dreadnought here has just got line of sight on this one with only 3 wounds left, but I don't know what I'm going to be able to do about this one or this one. Of course, the Terminators are moving through the rocks, moving through the crags to engage what they can, but they can only move 5. They're slow. Their tactical dreadnought armour, cumbersome. But their firepower really needs to come into effect here if I'm going to stand a chance, if I'm going to push the Cabal back. No more Psychic Phase. Both of my Librarians have been wiped out. So let's move on to the shooting phase and do some damage in the Emperor's name. So the Dreadnought firing across at the wounded Ravager, just about drawing a line of sight.
One at the top.
One at the top, Paul. One at the top. Hitting on 3s. I didn't move, so that all hits. And I'm wounding on 3s. That's only 3 wounds and -1 to your save. So 3 5-up saves. Don't make them all. You made 2 of them. Each one does 2 damage, so that's a wreck. And it blows up on a 6. It doesn't blow up. I took out one of these Ravagers, these Terminator killers. Right, now this squad is firing the Flamer Combi Flamer into the Witches, all the bolt guns into that. So, the 2 Flamers hit automatically, D6 shots apiece, that's 8 shots. I like it. I like it a lot. Strength 4, toughness 3, this wounds on 3s, and I do 7 wounds. Witches have a 6-up save, and you make 2 so far, and then you've got your 6-up feel no pain. No, so that was very efficient. That wiped out those witches, just those 2 flamers. What did you say?
Well, they did kill your warlord.
You said
That's what they were there for.
You said you wouldn't mention that. Kill my warlord. Okay, so 8 bolt gun shots rapid firing into there. One of these bolt guns is the other half of the combi flamer, so it only hits on 4s. Ah, nice. And then the other guys hit on 3s. So every single one of those bolt gun hits into the side of that venom, but I need 5s to wound, and the last time I did this I only got 1 wound. See how many I get now? I only get 1 wound. 1 4-up save on the venom. And the venom saves it, of course it does. So the other squad is going to fire, and I just remembered I've got grenades. Just out of grenade range. So rapid firing, hitting on 3s with the second squad. 8 hits and 5s, please more than 1 wound this time. That's much better. Yeah, that's 6 wounds this time. Look at all those 6s. SM battle reports. Thank you very much. 4-up save, 6 times. Paul, you made all of them but 1. 5 of them there. Well
Shall I use a battle thingy to reroll that?
Can I ask you, now you're halfway through your game with your new Drukhari army, 8th edition army, do you think Dark Eldar vehicles are a bit more resilient than 7th edition?
God, yeah. I mean, they don't pop.
They don't
as
pop
much. But, I mean, they're gone, but yeah, they are a little bit more resilient.
Stiff Breeze doesn't blow them over anymore. Yeah, I like it. Don't like it. Need it to go. This squad is going to fire. Only 2 with bolt guns can see, and the heavy bolter. Let's fire the 2 with bolt guns. Hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound. 1 4-up save. And the unkillable venom lives on. And the heavy bolters. 1 hit. 4s to wound. No wounds. This venom is on 5 wounds, and it's seriously jinking left, jinking right. He's an expert pilot. He deserves some sort of honour on the side of his hull when this battle is over. That's if he survives. Right. Round here, the Flamer, 7.5 inches away from that venom. I'm going to hit it, and the Storm Bolters into that squad there. So the Storm Bolters are in rapid fire range. So that's 8 shot. Just grabbing the dice here. Hitting on 3s at the Cabalites. All 8 hits. This could sting. Wounding on 3s. There's a cock dice. So we're looking at 7 wounds there, Paul. Yeah, 7 4-up saves.
5 up, isn't it?
7 5-up saves. Yeah, and 1. So you got 6-ups. 6-up feel no pains. And no, everybody's dead, Dave. I've got all of them. That's nice. It isn't called feel no pain. It's called something else. It's the power from pain table. Yeah. Anyway, they're dead.
Number 1.
Heavy flamer on that one. D6 hits. Looking for big money here. And that's a 6. Paul's turned his back to me, but you guys can vouch because you saw that on camera.
I trust.
So strength 5, toughness 5, wounding on 4s, but only 2 wounds. It is -1 to your AP, so 2 5-ups on the venom. This isn't such a good pilot. He flies into that waft of flame and gets his eyebrow singed. 4 wounds left on that one. Stormbolter from the last remaining Rhino at these 4 guys, hitting on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds, 2 5-up saves.
Nope.
Nope, and 6-up power from pains.
Nope.
2 die, that leaves 2. But I can't fail that charge, can I? Which will slingshot the Terminators further up the table, so instead I'm going to pump shots into this Ravager from the Terminators. Terminators shooting at the Ravager and then hopefully charge those Cabalites. There's 4 Stormbolters in there. I'm not in rapid fire range now, so this is just 4 shots, hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits, and I need 5s to wound the Ravager. There's a cock. That's 2 wounds on that Ravager, sir. And it takes 1 wound. Then I'm going to fire the assault cannon. There's an assault cannon in this unit. Hits on 3s. 3 hits. Strength 6, toughness 6, wounds on 4s. 1 wound, -1 AP, so a 5-up save.
No.
Which shit. And I think that's the end of my shooting phase. So I killed some witches, killed a unit, killed a Ravager. Yeah, I guess there is a clear dividing line down the centre of the table now between the forces of light and the forces of dark. Do you like that? Mm-hmm. That means you're the bad guys. So now we're going to charge. So I'm going to declare a charge with this unit on that unit. Your expert pilot can overwatch 12 times. 6 to hit.
1.
He might be a good pilot, but he's not a great shot. 4 to wound. 1 wound, 1 3-up save. Yep, I make it. Didn't have his hand on the trigger. Too busy jinking right and left. Now let's see how these guys charge. They are definitely in. But I want to slingshot the second unit up the table as well. So I'm going to try and charge with the second unit. And they're definitely in as well. That will make both of those units into that venom. Here we are after they've charged. That pilot might not last very long. Now these Terminators coming up the middle at these Cabalites. They get to overwatch. Roll a 6 for that blaster pool. And when I say roll a 6, don't roll a 6. He missed. Yeah, rolled off camera. The shot's missed. Terminators coming in. And they're going 4 inches. I think I need to get within 5, and we're definitely too far away, I think. The Terminators failed the charge. I could spend a command point to get them further up the table, but do I really want to spend command points on killing some Cabalites? Yeah, I do. So I rolled a 3 and a 1, keeping the 3, re-rolling the 1, 6. Now we're in. And that's how they end up. And then the last charge to declare that Venom gets to overwatch these Terminators because they're going to try and make it in as well. The Venom managed to do 2 wounds on Overwatch. Can I make the saves? 1 will take a wound, and then I need to charge in. And we're definitely in. And those Terminators end up there. Successful charges all the way along the front line for the 13th. Now let's resolve these fights. Right, the fight in the centre. Terminator Sergeant has 3 attacks. 3s to hit. That's 2 hits. And 3s to wound. 1 wound of -3 AP, so they get their 6-up power from pain thingy bob, which 1 dies. And then the 2 fists strike. Fists are unwieldy now, so they hit at 4s instead of 3s. 2 hits. I'll be wounding on 2s. 2 wounds, which ignore your armor again, so 2 6-ups. No, and he gets pulverized, and I will consolidate 3 inches towards the closest enemy unit, which leaves them like that, and then we'll go over to the other Terminators over there. Power Sword on the Sergeant, he strikes on 3s, that's 3 hits. He's going to wound that, Strength 4, Toughness 5, wound on 5s. No wounds. And then 2 Power Fists come smashing in, I need 4s to hit. Only 1 hit. Strength 8, Toughness 5, it needs a 3 to wound. 1 wound. You have a 5-up invulnerable save, I believe, on Venom still.
Mm-hmm. No.
Which you make. Which you don't make. Power Fists do D3 damage. 1. Damn. Then from the Terminators, these Tactical Marines will try and rip the pilot out of this vehicle. I'll do all these attacks together because I get to strike first. 10 tactical marines there, plus the sergeant. That's 11 attacks, hitting on 3s. And that wasn't so good. 7 hits. And wounding on 5s. Just 2 wounds with 2 4-up saves on this Venom pilot. And he dodges one of them. So he's down to 4 wounds left. Now your 2 Venom pilots can actually strike back. That's 3 attacks each, I think. Let's go and have a look at those rolls again. Vehicles hitting in combat. Venoms have 2 attacks. They hit on 4s, so rolling up. 2 hits. They are strength 5, or you can use the strength 4 blade veins minus 1 AP. Which one do you want to do?
Blade veins.
Blade veins. Okay, wounding on 4s. 2 wounds. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? And because of the minus 1 AP, 4-up saves. He takes 1 out. He was attacking the unit with the flamers in it. He's dead. And then the other pilot around here hits the throttle, tries to ram some Terminators, hitting on 4s. No. See, he's not as good as this chap over here.
No.
In the morale phase, I've no test to make because everything I have would pass, and that's the end of turn 3. Not sure how I feel about that. Essentially, I've got some tactical marines strung out along here and my dread with an empty rhino. And then 2 lots of 3 Terminators busting through the middle of the table, trying to get some penetration. This Ravager's been wounded, but he's a long way from the fight. He's not even crippled yet, as is the Raider. So looking across, that's still 3, 6, 7, 8 Dark Lance shots coming in at me. This Venom can break away from combat. That Venom can break away from combat. It's going to be interesting to see what the Dark Eldar do. And remember, Drazar, the Master of Blades, is inside this Raider as well. And he can jump up and over and potentially get into combat next turn. Oh, and as it's turn 3, the Mandrakes must arrive from reserve. Any units that are still in reserve in turn 4 are destroyed. So let's go on to Dark Eldar, turn 3. The end of the Dark Eldar movement phase with the Terminators sweeping around this way. The Dark Eldar react and sweep round this way. Drazar's Raider has advanced all the way over here. He will still be able to fire his Dark Lance, but it'll be -1 to hit. But he's sat right next to that objective. One of the Raiders busting round this way, Ravager, sorry. The wounded Ravager busting round this way. The Raider that was over there coming up over here. Now we have these shoal of sharks pointing down this side of the battle grid, and they've been joined finally by the Mandrakes, just 9 inches away, over 9 inches away from these 2 units here. It looks like there is a flanking maneuver coming up. This could sting a little bit. The Venom that these Terminators were punching has zipped over there, and the Ace pilot Venom from here has jumped up 16 inches and is up there. They can still fire when they drop out of combat because they have the fly special rule. So with the Dark Eldar lining up some choice shots through these canyon walls, let's move on to the Drukhari shooting phase. Opening up festivities are the Mandrakes. Let's find out what these guys can do in 8th edition. Hitting on 3s, 2 shots each, assault 2 weaponry. Now these weapons are strength 4, -1 AP, so they're wounding on 4s, and they're firing at this target here. 4s to wound.
And this is the bit where any additional is...
Yeah. So you have got 4 there, which I have to save, which is 4 4-up saves, which I make, but any 6s cause mortal wounds. So they only killed 1. Good saving there, or not enough mortal wounds.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they can do mortal wounds though. You potentially, if you get 5 or 6 6s, you could have rinsed that target. Now this Ravager firing down at the Dreadnought. 3s to hit. 2 hits.
Can I re-roll that one?
You can re-roll. You haven't used any of your command points yet. 2 hit. 2 hits still. Strength 8, toughness 7, 3s to wound. Only 1 bit of damage. It's -4 AP. Don't get a save. It's D6 damage. Roll a 1, roll a 1, roll a 1.
2.
2 damage. So that Dreadnought is down to 6. You can snap fire this gun. It advanced, but it counts as an assault weapon on a Raider. So it's 4s to hit. That's a hit. and 3s to wound. That isn't a wound. So the Dreadnought's still on 6 hull points. Wounds, hull points left. Dark Lance from this raider down at this empty Rhino, hitting on a 3. Hits, wounds on a 3. Wounds and d6 damage. Every time you roll that damage dice, it's scary. Drops down from 10 to 6 wounds remaining. What was that? Let's get rid of it.
Yeah, let's keep shooting it.
This Ravager down into the Rhino. 3s to hit. All 3 hit. 3s to wound. All 3 wound. I don't get a save. So 3 times d6 damage.
Cool.
I think he did it. I think you did it. It doesn't really matter if it blows up because there's no one within 6 inches. So yeah, you got rid of it. Now the guys inside the raider firing down here, just in 18-inch range of the hull. So the blaster's firing and all the shots. Do you want to roll the blaster first?
Yeah.
Hitting on a 3. That's a miss. And then is the Archon in there with him?
Yep.
And he's got his pistol, so
He's
that's
got
out
a
of
pistol.
range. So it's going to be 8 shots with the... I forgot about that Archon. That's terrible shooting. That's only 5 hits. 4 hits. 4's to wound.
1 wound.
1 wound. 2 up save on the Terminators, which I make. But we have the Venom round there, firing through at the Terminators as well. And we just checked, it's not rapid fire range, good call there. In 7th edition you'd have got all 12 shots, but now we've only got 6 shots and 4 of them hit. 4's to wound with these poison rounds shrieking through the air. 2 wounds. Thump into the Terminator armour, which stands firm. The Cabalites inside firing at the Terminators as well, 3s to hit and 4's to wound. These Venoms, with it jumping around 16 inches, yet the guy's still being able to fire. I like it. Anyway, 2 more wounds. Terminator armour standing firm one more time, making the saves. Nice. And the last salvo of the game, Ace Pilot. Hopefully we're not building him up too much, but he's taking on this unit down here. 3s to hit. And yeah, he's happy on that trigger finger. 4's to wound. How many wounds do you get? I see 3. 4 wounds.
4 wounds.
4 wounds on the tactical squad in amongst the crags. Let's see what we can save. We save them all. So the armour of the Astarte standing firm against these poison rounds. Just 1 Rhino wiped out by the Dark Eldar in this turn, and only 1 by the Mandrakes. And this Dreadnought is still kicking it. That's honoured brother Matthias there. He's still alive on 6 hull points left. But you can choose to assault with these Mandrakes now. You're going to need a 9. But you're going to get a reroll, and this is the unit without flamers, so I'm going to overwatch you first. Did the dice rolls off camera, nothing happened during the overwatch phase. You need a 9 to make this charge, sir. And you get a 9. The Mandrakes make it into combat. So the Mandrakes come charging into combat. Now, these guys hit on 3s. They've got 2 attacks, plus 1 for their Glimmer Steel Blades, so that's 3 attacks. 8 guys have 24 attacks, plus 1 for the Sergeant, 25 attacks at Strength 4. And because it's turn 3, Power from Pain, Dark Eldar are hitting on 2s. And these guys, Mandrakes, benefit from Power from Pain. This could sting. Okay.
This is 15.
15, hitting on 2s. Did you get any 1s? Did you get any 1s?
3 ones.
3 1s. So that's 12 hits so far. 10 more hits.
1 more.
1 more. So it's 9 plus 12 is 21 hits with 8 models. 21 hits. Strength 4, toughness 4, wounding on 4s. Oh no. I've never seen Mandrakes hurt anything before. That looks like I've got a lot of saves to make. That was 14 wounds. So 14 3-up saves. Will Holy Power Armor be able to help me against this attack? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 4 in that squad. The Mandrakes wipe out all of those tactical marines. Right, that was different. Mandrake's doing something, wiping through that tactical squad, and they've piled in, consolidated into another unit, which you can do now. They've chosen to do that because the Flamer Combi Flamer is in that squad, and that would have been 2d6 hits in the shooting phase, straight back on them. Now it's my assault, so I get to pile in and get to smack with my guys, but better to get hit by 3, 4, 5 attacks from my tactical squad, then 2d6 strength 4 attacks from flamers. So 3s to hit from these Space Marines, and 3s to wound, 2 wounds. Mandrakes have a 5 up and run, which they fail, and they benefit from pain, so 6 up, feel no pain. Nope. So 2 of them die. And here we are at the end of that combat. We're in the morale phase. There's no morale test to make. Their leadership 8 with their sergeant equivalent. You roll a 6 plus the 2 that they lost would be 8, so they're not going to lose anymore. They've wiped through a unit of tactical marines, shut down my flamer combi flamer, holding up my last unit of active mobile troops in the middle of the table. What do you think of Mandrakes?
I'm beginning to warm to them, Jimmy. I think I need more.
You need more?
That's right. Yeah, I need to find the ones which I've already lost.
I think bringing him to 3 was a good idea, because that benefit him from the fast one, pain, hit him from on a 2.
Yes.
I like the fact that they can do mortal wounds. You didn't get very many mortal wounds, but yeah, they could be a threat. It's nice to see them on the battlefield after such a long time. And we haven't seen.
10 turns could be 31 attacks as well. Just those 2 more extra models, and that'd be 31. 31 attacks hitting on 2s.
Do you remember consolidating into combat back in 5th edition when I was smashing into your Tau lines?
Yeah, just chewing them up one by one. Yeah, I do recall that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get the impression Tau are going to be quite brutal. Anyway, that's the end of turn 3 for the Dark Eldar. I have a Dreadnought, some guys, some Terminators left with which to stop this tide. My tactical squad wiped out. I was hoping to get some of the tacticals back in the Rhino so I can move around and contest some objectives later on. Because remember, to score objectives in this game, you need more units, more models than your enemy close to one of these objectives to score it. And there's Drazar and some Incubi in there. This is full of warriors, right, and your Archon. There's 5 Cabalites left in that Venom down there. So although it looks like your footprint isn't that large, you've got 25 models hidden in these vehicles up here. So let's go on to turn 4 for the 13th and fight back. In the movement phase, the Terminator's swinging around to try and get closer to these objectives. There is one here, there's one there, and put pressure on these transports. These are locked up, and these are the only units I have back here. So let's shoot some of this stuff. I need to kill this Ravager. So Matthias, opening fire, hitting on 3s. And only 5 hits, wounding on 3s. However, that's 5 wounds. Wow. 4 up save, -1 is a 5 up save, 5 times. And you make 2. So that's 4 wounds in total. Yeah, so you fail 2, sorry. So it's 4 wounds in total because it's 2 damage a pop. These Terminators firing at that Raider, hitting on 3s. 1 hit, wounding on a 5. 1 wound on the Raider. And it saves. These guys, Stormbolter's up at that, and the Assault Cannon at the Venom. Assault Cannon at the Venom hits on 3s. That's good shooting. And their wound on 3s because it's strength 6, toughness 5. So that's all wounded. It's -1 AP, so it's 4 5 up saves, sir. And you saved 2 of them, and it's got 1 hull point left. I knew I should have put all Stormbolters into it. Anyway, the 2 Stormbolters up at the Raider, 3s to hit. That's 3 hits, 3s to wound, 2 wounds on the Raider as well, 2 4 up saves. And it makes, so that wouldn't have killed the Venom as either. That makes me feel a little bit better. That's all my Daka, except for these shots at him. He must die. So heavy bolter from the squad straight up at that Venom. 2 hits and 1 wound. 1 5 up. Nope. Then I'm going to chuck a grenade. 3s to hit. Yes. 3s to wound. Yes. 4 up save. No. And I think this does D3 or D6 damage. Let me check. Crack grenades, -1 AP is D3 damage. You failed your armor save anyway. So D3, 1 more, which puts him on how many wounds?
How many has he taken this?
2.
2. So he's down to 2.
2 left. And these are the bolters. Holy bolt gunfire. Only 3 hit, 5s to wound, 2 wounds. He's got 2 saves left, 2 4-ups, and he dodges right, he dodges left. He is still hanging in there. And that's all my shooting attacks. That's all I've got. So now we move on to the assault phase. I get to strike first because it's my turn. I have 5 attacks on your mandrakes, hitting on 3s. All 5 hit, and I'll wound on 3s. 4 wounds with 4 5-up and vulnerable saves. And that's 4 fails, plus feel no pain. 4 mandrakes by it. Sergeant equivalent and the other guy have 4 attacks, 3 attacks, 7 attacks back at my squad, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s. Just 3 hits there. That's unfortunate, Paul. 4s to wound. No wounds. And that's the end of the combat, and they've got a leadership test to make, and they lost 5, right? So it's D6 plus 5. D6 plus 5, that's 7. Their leadership 8. They hold. I'll pile in. End of turn 4 for the Space Marines, and I haven't managed to wipe out any of these units. I chewed up a few mandrakes and have damaged some of these vehicles, bolt guns and assault cannons, spanking off the hull, but their grav wash is still active. These vehicles are still hovering through the sky. We're moving into Dark Eldar turn 4. It's looking desperate for the Sons of the Emperor. In the movement phase for the Drukhari, Drazar has sensed danger amongst his back lines, and he's moved his raider around to engage the Terminators. This Venom here is pulling back out of charge range, ready to pump rounds into the Terminators as well. And the ace pilot up there has hopped down, ready to pump rounds in the Terminators as well. They've heard the call from Drazar. They will not let this side, their deployment zone, fall to the enemy. Also, by putting his model down there, it blocks off line of sight from my tactical squad down here. And then Ravager 1 and Ravager 2 are lining up Matthias and the Dreadnought in this corner. Shooting phase, this Ravager taking on Matthias the Dreadnought. 3s to hit, that's 2 hits, and 3s to wound. Strength 8, toughness 7, 1 wound.
I'm going to re-roll that one.
You can re-roll it, you've got 5 command points left. 2 wounds, okay, and each of these does D6 damage apiece. That's 6 damage. I've got 6 points of damage left. I blow up on a 6, he doesn't blow up. Honoured brother of Matthias has been removed as a casualty. That makes me sad. Now Matthias is dead, this Raider, Ravager, can actually see this guy. So that means he can see this unit, which means I can be forced to remove more people than Paul can actually see. So 3s to hit. It's the only thing that he can see, so might as well shoot it. Triple 1s. The dice gods don't like that. But yeah, even if you can only see one model, such as that, and you get 20 wounds on that target, you can pull away models that are not in line of sight. So long as you can see a unit, always worth firing at them. This Raider with the Warriors, shooting in at the Terminators, hitting on a 3, and that's a miss. 8 splinter shots firing into the Terminators, hitting on 3s. That's 4 hits, wounding on 4s. That's 3 wounds, that's respectable. 2-up save. Terminator armor stands firm. Ace pilot, 6 rounds into these Terminators as well. They're attracting a lot of fire this turn. That's 3 hits. 4s to wound. And that's only 1 wound, 2-up save, which I pass. You've got a dark fire cannon on this thing as well, you might as well. 3s to hit, which misses. I think the only thing left to fire is this Venom.
Yep, and its crew.
And its crew. So you're in 18, so that's 12 shots in the Terminators. 3s to hit. And that's a pretty respectable boatload of hits, with 4s to wound with these poison rounds. And I can see 4 or 5? 5. 5 damage into my Terminators. Terminator armor. 2-up save. Lose 1. Actually, don't lose 1. That's just a wound, because Terminators have 2 wounds each now. It's a thing. And the guys inside the Venom fired. They caused 3 wounds, 3 1-ups, 2-up saves, which I passed. There's also a blaster in 18-inch range as well. And the blaster misses. And that's the end of the shooting phase for the Dark Eldar. They've wiped out a Dreadnought. We haven't got any assaults this turn except for these mandrakes here. So you get to swing first. In turn 4 as well, we should mention Power from Pain. You're now essentially fearless. You get to ignore morale tests, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so these two chaps have 7 attacks and they hit on 2s. Ridiculous. And they all hit. They wound on 4s. It's Power from Pain ramping up. 4 3-up saves. The mandrakes slay through 3 of my guys. 1, 2. I keep the sergeant alive because he's got an extra attack and he hits back on 3s and he completely whiffs. He misses the combat, which means I've got to take a leadership test. 6 plus D6, which is 1, plus the 3 I lost is 4, so I don't lose any more during the morale phase. And that's the end of turn 4 for the Dark Eldar. Drazar has positioned him in a nice position to jump out and assault some Terminators next turn and hold on to his lines. And these mandrakes, would you believe it, are hacking their way through a second tactical squad. Let's move on to Space Marines, turn 5. The only thing to move in my turn are the Terminator squads in on Drazar. They smell blood. They want to cut the head of this snake and kill the Warlord for the Cabal of the Last Hatred. The shooting phase, shots from this unit up at the Ravager did nothing. Now let's shoot the Terminators into Drazar's Raider. Everything from this squad into the Raider. Stormbolters, 4 shots each at this range, hitting on 3s, and I missed 4 times. Wounding on 5s, and I only get 1 wound. 1 save, Paul rolls a 5, that's okay, saves it. Assault Cannon, hitting on 3s, 4 hits. Wounding on 4s or 3s, right? These are toughness 5. So strength 6 versus toughness 5 is 2 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up saves on this shot. And it takes a wound. I think it's an uninjured raider, which displeases me. So this unit's fired. It's down to 9 wounds left. Now this unit needs to fire, and there's a heavy flamer in there. So I fire the heavy flamer first, which is D6 shots. I get 2. A wound on 4s. I get 1 wound at minus 1 save. You get a 5-up save versus that shooting attack, sir, which you fail, so it's down to 8 wounds. And now the remaining Stormbolt shots, rapid fire 2, so 4 shots each at this range, and I only get 3 hits. 5s to wound, 1 wound, 1 5-up save, sir, and you fail. So that's all of these Terminators managed to put 3 wounds on that 1 Raider. I think we can safely say that Dark Eldar vehicles are a bit more resilient in 8th edition. Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm used to blowing my nose in their general direction and then falling over. So we're charging. He fired Overwatch with his 1 Dark Lance and failed. This unit is charging in and they go 6. I only need to be with 1 inch, so that'll do it. And this unit charging in, they're moving 7, so both of the Terminators will be in. And here we are, the 2 units. Let's do the 2 power swords together because, you know, time. 3s to hit on the sergeants. Oh, that's pretty good. Strength 4, toughness 5. They need 5s to wound. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds apiece. At minus 3 AP, so you don't get a save. So that strips it from 7 wounds straight down to 3. Then the Power Fists in this squad, unwieldy, swinging at 4s, only 1 hit. Strength 8, wounding on a 3. That's a wound, minus D3 AP, so again punches straight through it, and this is D3 damage on a 5-6. The Raider has gone. The Raider has not gone. It's got 1 hull point left. So now I need to swing the other 2 fists in it, hitting on 4s, 3 hits, wounding on 3s. 1 gets in. It's D3 damage, so it's definitely wrecked no matter what. Yeah. That's the last hull point gone. Drazar's ride has been taken out. Does it blow up on a 6 though? No, it doesn't. It just gets removed. You put Drazar anywhere within 3 inches.
Oh, right, they do emergency disembark.
Oh yeah, and there's 10 guys in there. Yeah. So I could hurt you because when a transport vehicle is wrecked, you roll on the damage. So I rolled 10 dice, and on 1s, One model is slain and you take the casualty. So I get
Three
3 ones there. There. 3 ones. You're basically not going to pick Drazar, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not picking
You can pick Drazar if you want to.
No, I'd like to keep him on because he doesn't.
Oh,
see
go
much.
on.
No.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm going to kill just some 3 newbies.
3 newbie Incubi's dead. Drazar standing firm with 6 remaining Incubi. So at the end of the assault phase, it looks like this. The Dark Eldar are fearless in that turn, so they're not going to suffer any damage through morale. And then we've got this combat to resolve. My sergeant hits on 3s, 1 hit, and he wounds on that. You have a 5-up save on the Mandrake, and a 6-up feel no pain on the Mandrake, which you pass. No. So your 7 attacks from 2 guys come swinging back in. Sorry, one of them died. He didn't get his 6-up feel no pain, so just 4 attacks back from that 1 sergeant equivalent in the Mandrake. Must get his name at some point. 3s to hit, 2 hits, and 4s to wound.
He's a Night Fiend.
Night Fiend, is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
Night Fiend. Sounds like something out of Gremlins. 3-up save, and a make it. Okay, I may have said it was turn 4, but it's definitely turn 5. Sometimes you can forget the turn numbers, you know, that happens. Drazar is on the table, ready to make these Terminators pay. At the end of this turn, the game could end. It's still random game lengths, and it's all about who scores these objectives. I've got a couple of guys within 3 inches of that objective there. But currently the Dark Eldar are scoring this one, and they have First Blood and Slay the Warlord, and they've got Line Breaker right now. So let's move on to Dark Eldar turn 5 and see what damage they can do. And an amendment to that, I just remember, Line Breaker's in the deployment zone as well. The Dark Eldar need to be down there. I need to be in that deployment zone, so no one's got Line Breaker right now. But the Dark Eldar are definitely in the lead. If I can hang in there for 1 or 2 more turns, make Drazar pay and push down into this cluster down here, I might have a chance. But at the moment, it's looking like it's in the bag for the Dark Eldar. So in the movement phase, we have a raider full of Cabalite warriors sat on this objective, which is just there, and Ravager looking down at the unit of Terminators. Venom with the Cabalites on that objective there. Drazar moving up through the middle, ready to take on the Terminators. Essentially, I don't think there'll be very many Terminators left. The ace pilot zipped over. He's got Line Breaker. That objective is in my deployment zone, so not only is he line breaking, but he has that objective as well. Anyway, let's move on to the Dark Eldar shooting phase and see what they can wipe out. Opening salvos, this pilot fired up here, and after hitting and after wounding caused 4 wounds. I've got 4 saves to make, and I lose 2 chaps straight away. So the tactical squad that were anchoring the backfield are now taking casualties. And from here to the other Venom, managed to cause 2 wounds on this close Terminator squad, 2-up saves, and their armor stands firm. Then across to the Raider. This Raider firing in at the Terminators, causing 3 wounds, 3 saves to make, which the Terminator armor stands firm to as well. But now you've got some Lancers. I think I might struggle against this.
Okay, the guy with the blaster in the Venom.
On the Venom, yes, the blaster misses. So do you want to hit the Raider into them as well? That was a hit. Now that's a wound. Which squad were you firing at? This one. 5-up save. No. I'm going to put it on the guy with 2 wounds. I have to put it on the guy with 2 wounds. He's wiped out. This Ravager firing into the closer unit.
Yeah.
Okay. 3s to hit, 2 hits. 2s to wound, 2 wounds, 2 5-up and vuns. I fail 1 and I have to put it on the 1 with 1 wound. So this Ravager is firing 2 guns at the tactical squad that was in there, and they both hit, and 1 down at the Terminators. And I asked Paul, why on earth were you doing this? And he said, because he could. So missed the Terminators, hit the tactical squad, and wounds on a 2, and there is no cover. And I'll pull away the 2 that are actually out of line of sight. He could see the heavy bolter, but he couldn't see the other 2. But again, you can withdraw models that are not in line of sight, which is odd, but that's the rules. I think it suggests that they're taking up this amount of space and there's stray shots and there's ricochets all happening in and around this place. Strange things happen on a battlefield, particularly in the 41st millennium. I think that's the end of your shooting attack.
Yeah.
So we've got a charge coming on. Are you going to charge both squads, allowing both squads to overwatch, or are you going to pick on one and tie the other one up?
I'm going to allow them both to overwatch.
Both? Okay. Paul is feeling confident, so let's do some overwatching Stormbolters hitting on 6s. That's 2 hits. 3s to wound. 2 wounds. 2 Incubi saves of 3 up.
5.
And you make both of them, okay. Assault Cannon, hitting on 6s. 1 hit, wounds on a 2. 1 wound, 3 up Incubi save, which you make. This, and then the Heavy Flamer. I've got 3 shots. They're auto hits. So these are wound on 3, strength 5, toughness 3, wounds on 3s. And that's -1 to your armor save. So that's 3 4-up armor saves. And 2 wounds plus 2 6-up power from pain rolls. No, so I actually managed to take out 2 Incubi before they come charging in, and you can pull from the back. And this is how Paul's placed his models. The 3 normal Incubi into this squad of 2, and the Clavex and Drazar into this squad of 2. So finally we get to see. Can you do Drazar first so we get to see what he's like in combat? Thank you. Okay, so Drazar has Demiclaves, 4 attacks. He can have 6 attacks at strength 4 or 4 attacks at strength 5. Am I reading that right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you doing?
Going for the single blade, 4 hits.
4 hits.
Strength 5.
Okay, hitting on 2s. They all hit, and these are strength 5. So wounding on 3s. And that's 3 wounds, AP minus 5 up and vulnerable save. If he had 6s to wounds, he could do additional damage. Oh no. So 1 Terminator is wiped out, and 1's dropped down to 1 wound. Then the Clavex strikes that 1 remaining Terminator. 4 attacks, hitting on 2s. And this is strength what?
4.
Strength 4, wounding on 4s. AP minus
3.
So 5 up and vulnerable save. He's got 1 wound left, this Terminator. He's dead. So Drazar and the Clavex take out those 2. Can these 3 Incubi take out these 2 remaining Terminators? Hitting on 2s. Everything hit but 1. This is brutal strength. 4 with these blade things.
So
and
4s would be 4.
Oh, that's 6 wounds. Is this still
6
-3 AP?
Yeah, this is -3.
6 wounds, 5 up in vulnerable save for these 2 Terminators. And I failed every single dice roll. So that's 6 wounds, they have 2 wounds each. They have been wiped out, just run over, absolutely run over by Drazar, the Master of Blades, and his Incubi. Then round here, the Mandrake Sergeant, the Night Fiend or whatever, hits on 2s. That's 3 hits. He wounds on 4s. 3 wounds. What's his name again?
He's a Night Fiend.
He's a Night Fiend. He's just wounded me 3 times. And the Sergeant is dead. This unit of Mandrakes, this 1 Night Fiend and his unit has ran through 2 units of tactical squads, which, let's face it, they could never do in 7th. And at end of turn 5 for the Dark Eldar, I have 1 tactical marine with a heavy bolter left, and that's it. And this is the way the world ends. A sweeping victory for the Dark Eldar. The 13th should not have come to this place. The Dark Eldar made them pay. They've got 1, 2, 3 objectives, and Slay the Warlord, and Lionbreaker, and virtually all table control. And I concede, I'm backing out of here. Honestly, I imagine that he's not a heroic survivor, but Drazar ordered that just 1 Marine survive, so someone could live to tell the tale of this battle. Take it back to the battle cruise and talk about what horrors they met here, and talk about the slaughter of his brother Marines. That was a bad loss for the 13th, and a great and easy and quite simple victory for the Dark Eldar. It's good to see them back on the channel again. I think their vehicles are punchy. I like Mandrakes. I would like to see some Vespids next, because I know you've got Tau. Bring your Vespids along.
Yeah, they're going to need painting first, though.
Paint them up, man. And I know you've got the Yinkan, and I know you've got an idea to do a Dark Eldar Wraith Knight, because if you follow Faction Eldari, then you can easily chuck a Wraith Knight in now as a Lord of War for one of your Dark Eldar slots. So if you want to encourage Paul to paint up a big spiky purple Wraith Knight, then please flood the comment section. Maybe you'll have more luck than me, because I've been asking him to do it for over a year now, and it's a legitimate choice now. He can just bring it along in his army. I want to see something with chains and nasty stuff hanging off of it. Anyway, thanks for coming, Paul. Thanks for bringing your Dark Eldar. I like to see, I always like to see them on the channel. It's good to see what they can do now in 8th edition, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I think I'm definitely going to have to bring a different type of list next time. With vehicles being a thing now in 8th edition without them going pop, if you bring Venom Span and Raider and Ravager Spam, basically lots of vehicles with lots of wounds, you probably add plus 60, 70, 80 wounds on the table. So I think Venom Span and Raider Spam is going to be a thing. I think next time to fight this type of list, I'm definitely going to have to bring a stronger list, a list with a lot more DACA in it. Centurions, Devastators, things like that. Anyway, how'd you find it?
Groovy.
Groovy. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy wargaming.